This is BMW's 2026 F450 GS. Is it actually fun to ride, or is it a bit mid? Let's go for a ride and figure that out. Right, quick walk around before we get going. I quite like the look of this bike, especially in this trophy colour. I think it looks very, very striking. You may have noticed this has BMW ERC magnesium on the side. Now, ERC stands for Easy Ride Clutch. We've got a bit of an easy rider. It's purely mechanical. There's no electronics involved at all. It's a centrifugal clutch, basically. When the engine's idle, the clutch is engaged, and as you build revs, the clutch disengages and allows you to keep moving. We've got a 19-inch front wheel. We've got spoked wheels. Sorry, no, we've got cast wheels on this one. They didn't have the spoked wheel as an option currently. But yeah, let's throw our leg over this 845mm seat height and see how we find it. I'm 5'8" with a 30-inch inseam. So how is that? Not too bad for me. I can't flat foot it, but I'm certainly not tippy-toeing, so that's good. 14-litre fuel tank, and of course, it being a BMW, it's got this beautiful 6.5-inch TFT, full colour. Make life a ride. Now, because this is the trophy version, we do have quite a few different riding modes. So we've got Road, Enduro, Enduro Pro, as well as Rain. But we can also go down and have it in Sport mode. And you get all these fancy shenanigans. But do you know what? I'm actually just going to go back to the normal, because I really like this dash. It's a 420cc parallel twin, making 48 horsepower and 43 newton meters of torque. Now, because it's got this fancy clutch system, it does have a clutch lever and a gear shifter. We can just put it into a gear. It is a bit strange, this ERC system, but we'll talk about that. It does make a bit of an interesting noise, this engine, because it's a 135-degree crank pin, so not quite the usual 270-degree or 180-degree that you'll find from the likes of the NX500 or the CF Moto 450. Now, I do own a CF Moto 450, so I will be kind of thinking about that as I talk about this bike, comparing things. Immediately noticeable is just how light this bike feels. It is 178 kilos wet, ready to ride, which is remarkably light. The ERC system does take a little bit of getting used to, because the revs have to build quite a bit before the clutch disengages, so it almost feels like you're in neutral until you get the revs up. It's not like a standard clutch bike, but you have still got a clutch lever as well. And at the front we've got BMW branded brakes, although on the tech spec sheet it does say that they're Brembo, and the rear brake is actually a bi-brake, so which is by Brembo, which is kind of their brakes that they use on the smaller motorcycles. So I don't know if the front brakes are Brembo or they're bi-brake. I imagine they are at least bi-brake, if not Brembo. Going back to the engine, parallel twin 420cc. It's called a 450, but they have been a little bit cheeky calling it that, because it is a 420. So they're missing 30 cc's. Kind of rounding up quite a bit there, but the engine actually isn't too bad. It's you know, it's what you'd expect from a 450. It's got poke. It's not the most torque rich engine or the most powerful engine you're going to ride, but as I said earlier, these videos are about what's the bike actually like to ride. Is it fun? Because you can sit there and stare at a spec sheet all day long and kind of go, oh well, that's got this and that's got that, but it doesn't tell you, does it make you smile or not? And that's what I aim to answer in these videos. At this speed, in this gear, we're in 4th gear, 30 miles an hour, it's remarkably smooth. I like that. We've got a 6-speed box as well. As this is the trophy edition, it's got all the extras, so it is about £700 more expensive than the base model, which is £6,999. This comes with a nice bash plate, handguards. It comes with the extra Enduro Pro mode, so you can do skids and wheelies if you want to. It also comes with the Shift Assist Pro. You've got LED headlights. Does it have cruise control? It hasn't got cruise control, but it has got heated grips. It does make quite quite a nice amount of power actually. It's quite fun. It's one of those bikes that is probably, the more you ride it, the more you'll smile. Again, it's not super powerful. That's not what this category is about, these 450s. They're about low powered, good honest fun. And you know, the ERC system might not be for everybody, but you do still have the clutch lever if you want to use that. Right, because we've got all the fancy schmancy shenanigans, let's stick it in Enduro mode. Enduro Pro, which should mean that we can do skids and wheelies, right? Let's test that theory out. Yes. I'm going to put my visor down.com. 43mm upside down forks. Those are quite girthy for the engine size or size of bike. But you've also got rebound and compression damping, which is quite nice. We have another burnt out vehicle. That's lovely, isn't it? The rear, we've got like this side mounted monoshock, which has preload and compression damping, I think, or is it rebound? One or t'other. You can spin the wheel up. Now we've disabled the rear traction control in Enduro Pro mode. Just swallowed a fly. The suspension actually does quite a nice job on these bumpy bits. Very, very plush. It's interesting, on the road it does feel quite firm, but as soon as you get another fly in the mouth, as soon as you get onto this stuff, it does feel quite good. Lots of travel, which is what you really want. 180mm travel front and rear, which I think is, ouch. I think that is enough. You know, this isn't going to be the most technical terrain, and I'm not the most technical off-road rider, so if you want to see somebody ride this much more effectively off-road, go watch Chris Northover or someone like that. But I just wanted to give you a real-world kind of example of what you can expect to do with fair to average skills. The fact that it hasn't got, or the fact that I don't need to use the clutch is actually quite nice. Just using the quick shifter. Yeah, it's actually quite a fun little bike just to do these little gravelly, mucky trails on. Yeah, that suspension did a really good job actually. Very plush. They are made by TVS in India, so you know, take that as you will. It is a bespoke engine that they've made for BMW, though it's not like a bike, an engine they've pulled from somewhere else. But yeah, let's start from front to back. We've got Maxblore tyres, 19-inch front wheel, cast rims, obviously tubeless, 43mm, quite girthy actually for the size of bike. Upside down forks. You've got the adjusters on the top here, rebound there, compression there. So they're BMW branded brakes at the front, but that is a radially mounted 4-piston caliper. Now on the spec sheet it says Brembo, so again it doesn't say Brembo on there, but perhaps that is Brembo. Braided lines though, which is very, very nice. Suzuki, Honda, take note. We've got LED indicators and headlight. Got this nice little smoked windscreen, which does a fairly decent job when you're out on the motorway. 14-litre fuel tank. That should be good for about 200 miles, they say. And there's the beating heart of this beast, the 420cc parallel twin, 48 horses, 43 Newton meters of torque with the ERC clutch system. Steel frame, engine is a stress member of that. Bolt-on steel subframe as well. The engine guard, this bash plate, which actually looks quite good, that comes with this trophy version. You do have to pay an extra £780 to get that, so it takes the bike up to around about £7,800. Really comfortable seat actually, very, very nice, very plush, 845mm seat height. Not the most throaty of exhaust pipes, but I imagine you could get an aftermarket jib job for that, and that could improve the sound a bit. There's your side mounted rear shock as well. That's got some rebound adjustability in the preload collar there, so at least two-way adjustability, perhaps more. 17-inch rear wheel. Again, you can see the tread pattern on those tyres. You know, it's going to be good for gravel and very light mud. We've got a brake light, which is nice. Thank you, BMW, for doing that. I don't like those integrated braking indicators. I don't think they look very good, or they're not safe. We've got the Shift Assist Pro on this one. And there's this side of the bike, just so you can see. Bear trap style pegs. We've got pillion pegs. You know, probably would be fairly comfortable for a pillion on this bike. Yeah, it's pretty nice, I think. And also, I've power cycled the bike a few times and I haven't had to do anything with the traction or the rear ABS, so that's good. Thank you, BMW. It does make our lives easier. So if you leave it in Enduro Pro mode, it will just stay in it. You don't need to do anything. So that's handy. Now this is where I very famously came a cropper on the WR125. Now I will have to be a little bit careful which line I take. Let's go here. There we go. That was a bit better than the last time I did that. Couldn't have gone worse, could we? Just need to kind of concentrate a bit more on the lines I'm taking. You know, we're not setting any pace records today, but all this is just a little first ride video, just to figure the bike out a little bit, to see, like I said, if it's fun. And so far, I mean, motorcycles are inherently fun unless they're really bad, but this is not one of those bikes. I think it's quite well mannered. It's got lovely toys for the off-road stuff. I really enjoyed the suspension off-road. I'm just going to put it back in a road mode, which is just as easy as doing that. Nice. Oh, I actually pulled away in second there. So there you go, let's see if... So I was in second gear. You could completely pull away in second gear. How cool. So it's got a fair amount of torque, and the ERC system lets you do it. Nice one. Yeah, one thing I would say about this bike compared to something like the CF Moto 450, I think I mentioned this earlier, is this feels so much lighter. The CF Moto, as good as it is, I love that bike, but it really does feel quite heavy. Whereas this bike, honestly, you can really feel the weight difference. It's about, I'd say all in, it's almost 30 kilo difference. That is not to be sniffed at. Yeah, great fun. A great fun motorcycle. Right, I'm just going to turn it round. That is a little bit interesting. The clutch binding point is a bit strange. I had to put my foot, I had to dab my foot there. Doesn't sound too bad when you get it singing. Yeah, this is fun. This is a fun bike. And it feels like a much bigger bike. I know I said it's lightweight, and it is, but it feels like, physically, it feels like I'm on a big bike, just with the benefit of it feeling really nimble. It's like a giant BMX. Yeah, I really like it. Really like it. I wasn't sure what to make of this bike actually when it first came out. I just thought, here we go. This might not be that good, a bit watered down, but the baby GS is quite fun. Braking performance is not bad. You got to remember, you've only got one caliper at the front and one disc. It's a 320mm disc, but there is only one. There can be only one. Was that the Highlander? Yeah, and it's just got a lovely agile way about it. Rear brake, not too bad. This is quite a new bike, so it's only got a couple hundred miles on it. But it is very, very fun. Again, second gear. Whoops, didn't mean to do that, but it just pulls away in seconds, so why not use it? So, competition for this bike, obvious one being the Kawasaki KLE 500, Honda's NX 500, as well as the bike I own, the CF Moto 450 MT. There'll be a whole plethora of other Chinese bikes, the QJ Motors 450 thingy that they've got, the you know, Moto Marini truck, whatever it's called. Yeah, this is vying for your money over those bikes. And gotta say, you know, BMW are a bit of a powerhouse when it comes to brand recognition, and it certainly looks every bit a BMW as something larger does, or like the F900 or the big boy. Yeah, it's actually quite a good little bike. And it's funny because you look down and you see that massive, well-known, well-established TFT, and the rest of it kind of just fits in with that nicely. It's not jarring. It's not like, oh, there's a really fancy dash and the rest of the bike isn't up to the same quality. It actually fits in quite nicely. It will do motorway stuff quite nicely. You can sit at 85 miles an hour all day long from my brief test. I did go on a very private test track near Mexico and I saw an indicated 97 miles an hour. I did not do that on the road because I would not do such a thing. So there we go. I've answered that question really. Is it fun? Regardless of the spec sheet, regardless of the low power, yeah, it is more fun than I thought it would be. I thought it might be a little bit anemic, but like most of these 450s, you do have to rev it to get the most out of it, but it is quite rewarding to ride, and the suspension is pretty good, nicely damped for the road, quite plush, but still fairly firm, and you've got compression and rebound adjustability if you want to fiddle with it. And the Brucey bonus is that when you get to the really bumpy off-road stuff, the actual suspension is lovely and plush, and you know, not once did I bottom it out. And I really did try to do some silly things, and I couldn't bottom it out. Maybe that's just me with a lack of gusto, but it was absolutely fine. What a cracking bike. I'm actually really pleasantly surprised by this. So there you go. My honest opinion is I really like this bike. I think it's fantastic. BMW electronics. I'll just pull over and just show you the screen. I mean, it's what you'd expect from a BMW screen. I did show you earlier like the sports dash and stuff like that. Not too much else to say really other than that in regards to the screen. It's got ABS modes, you know, you've got the BMW ABS, you've got BMW traction control, you've got your riding modes. Standard riding modes is only 3, rain, road and enduro. So if I just press this mode button, which is just here, that will cycle through the modes. So we'll start off rain, road and enduro. Those are the standard modes, and if you buy the trophy or the other, I think it's the exclusive pack, you get Enduro Pro, and it does give you a little bit warning saying that the ABC and your traction control, they call it DTC, which is I think dynamic traction control. We can go into the menu. There's lots of different, you know, items, much like every other BMW. Loads of things you can look at and set up. You know, we're not going to go into that on this video. I've got to say a big thank you to Group 1 Motorrad in Reading for letting me borrow their test bike. Yeah, really lovely looking bike, and actually it rides as well as it looks. A bit waspy at the front end, granted. I quite like that, very mandibly. It's a bit like a kind of ant and a wasp, isn't it? But yeah, I will see if I can get hold of one of these for a couple of weeks from BMW UK, do some night ride testing, see how those headlights are. They look like they'd be pretty good. Is the ERC worth it? You know, that's a very subjective thing. And it's not something I can answer for you. Really, I would just say give it a go. Go down to your local dealer, take one out and see what you think. It doesn't get in the way, I don't think. The initial drive off of the line is a little bit interesting. It does take a bit more revs than I'm used to. So if you're doing some car park manoeuvres, you might have to just bear that in mind and get used to it a little bit. Oh, what a cracking little bike though. Okie dokie. Right, I think I've covered everything. If I haven't, just fire down a question down in the comments and I'll answer you as quick as I can. But thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Do please subscribe to the channel, because I'm trying to grow this second channel back up to where my old channel was. I did get to 94,000 subscribers on my old channel. We're back at 23,000 at the moment. That would mean the world to me if you followed along with my silliness and my journeys. The whole point of this channel is having fun on two wheels. That's literally it, while also creating authentic, amusing content for you lovely viewers. But anyway, if you do go out today, do ride safe, but remember to have fun, of course. Otherwise, what's the point? And until next time, you take care. Peace.